Listen, I'll be honest. I don't actually think he needs as long as many people think to sit and learn and clean up some of those fundamental things you were talking about. I'll be honest with you, George. I mean, the way this defense looks for New England, I think I'm willing to roll with Jacoby Brissett for sure the first month of the season. And then if you're sticking in games, you're winning some games you didn't think they would, they're shocking you, they're hanging in all of them. With that defense, you would think they're going to be in a lot of these games, a lot of close games here, no blowouts. I'm going to tell you, if you're within contention at all after a month or 6 weeks of the season, I'm going to start personally banging that Drake Maye drum because, look, I think you bring the kid in. I don't want baptism by fire week one. I get that. But I think we're going to see enough flashes in preseason to see that this kid can play. I think we're going to get great reports out of training camp about his athleticism, his personality that we spoke to. George, call me crazy. I know you will, and I am. But I would not hate to see certain packages before you go to him as a starter where maybe he comes in, certainly red zone. A guy like him, I see how you're looking at me. A guy like him, dual threat with his feet, he gives you that ability. George, let me ask you a question. When is the last time you have watched the Patriot offense and thought, man, that was creative, that was cool,
Cam
that was
Newton
fun,
in 2020 when
right?
they had to revamp the whole offense around a guy that couldn't throw the ball
That's what I'm
further
saying.
than 7 yards downfield.
Bro, I was falling. This is our job. And I was falling asleep watching Patriots
awful
games
last
last
few
year
years.
because the offense was atrocious.
Yeah.
So now I got this exciting young kid who I can bring in. Not saying he has to start right away, but if you start bringing him in red zone packages, almost i.e. Wildcat-ish, you bring him in, he is dual threat. Oh, my God, the defense has to pay attention to that. You give him some little morsels there, right? Little bite size. You give them small sample sizes to get used to the ebbs and flow of the game, the speed of all these kids talk about the speed of the pros compared to the college. Well, you're giving them a chance to get some live action here. Come in for a couple plays, try to score a touchdown for us. He gets in the end zone a few times, which I'm sure he will, with that arm of those legs, George. The confidence is there. I am telling you. I want to bring him along slowly.
Yes.
I do want patience. Everything you preach, brother, I'm saying amen to your gospel. But I also believe this kid is good enough. Get him in there. Work him in. Get him some reps. And go to him sooner rather than later.
You're understanding my gospel, but you're inserting your own verse from the book of Drake, which I understand. But you have to temper expectations in New England. Because if he comes out week 4 before he's really ready to play and then runs some nice package using his athleticism and his arm strength to zip a ball in and throw a touchdown.
What's wrong with that?
When they're losing in week 5 and 6 and the Drake Maye chants start in Gillette Stadium and Robert Kraft wakes up in his owner's suite and he realizes their fans are chanting for him and he sees it half empty, he goes, put him in. And if your offensive line's not ready, if he's not ready, you let those bad habits build up and you don't let him really progress as a quarterback fundamentally, then you can crap away the next year or two. You have to get it right, and you can't take 1 step forward, 3 steps back because you rush him into the field. But I understand what you're saying. Give me 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Give me maybe the last 3 games of the season. Put in Drake Maye. Let him learn from the speed of the game. This is a multi-year rebuild, Travis. Think about it like this. They went out and took 2 offensive linemen. Layden Robinson, who's a guard, and is now their 4th guard taken in the last 3 drafts. Because with Cole Strange, Antonio Mafi, and Sidney So, that was the old regime. Yes, there's Jake Andrews in there as well, center, guard, what have you. Again, a Bill Belichick pick. You bring in Robinson, who fits either a gap run or a zone scheme, which is Alex Van Pelt. But now this is the new head honchos in charge. And then there's Caden Wallace, who had 40 career starts at Penn State at right tackle. The other left tackle, Chuck Okorafor, played in the NFL for 6 years, 4,000 career snaps at right tackle, 2 at left tackle. You still don't have a left tackle. I don't know what your offensive line looks like. You have all this cap space. You should have used someone, Jonah Williams. Then I would say, yeah, go ahead. Bring in Drake Maye. You got the right receivers. You have some offensive linemen. It's still going to take multiple drafts to rebuild this team because You have overlays from the Matt Patricia era, a la Tyquan Thornton taken with the 50th pick. Then you have overlays from the Bill O'Brien era. And think about it like that. Your top 3 picks in that draft went to the defensive side of the ball. It's going to take multiple years, multiple free agency classes, multiple drafts to get this offense right. But make sure Drake Maye is right and it's ready to hold a rookie or a second-year quarterback that's 21 or 22. You can't screw this up because you'll be in the same place in 4 years. You don't have the offensive scheme. You have a first-time play caller as an offensive coordinator, first-time head coach, a guy that's about to have his second season as a quarterback's coach in the NFL.
George.
A mishmash of an offensive line, a bunch of wide receiver twos. Don't mess up Drake Maye because if you hit on it, it works.
George,
don't rush it.
No one learns the way you're saying. You got to get in there. You got to get some action, baby.
Jordan Love.
No, you're right. Now I have opened up a competing church across the street from yours. Now we're a completely different gospels. You're absolutely right.
You're Scientology.
I was with you. I was with you first. Now I'm out. You say things like, we have new head honchos in charge. Do you want them all fired? Because that's what it sounds like.
Well,
you don't want to. Wait a minute. You don't want to play Drake Maye to the last 3 games of the season?
Yeah, I don't want to mess that up.
Fired, George. George, you got to play this guy before then, brother.
No.
What happens? You play him the last 3 games of the season. He's set all year. He's ready now. Get him in there. Let's see what we got. And he goes 3-0, and he's lights out. Know what's going to happen? Robert Kraft's going to say, hey, ma'am, we got something with this kid. You're all fired.
No.
Because you waited too damn long to play him. We could have been a playoff team. You got to get this kid in there when he's ready. Now, where we definitely both agree, you and I can yell at each other all year, and we will. Where we can agree, though, is your talent evaluators, your coaches, the players, the people that are there every day, they see this kid working, they're going to have the final choice of when he's ready, the final decision of when he's ready. Drake Maye himself putting in the work, which we all believe he will. Mm-hmm. But, George, I can't go into this season predetermined. I'm not playing him until the last my ass because everyone's going to get fired, George.
No, but they're not. You think Robert Kraft that preaches kumbaya and said with Bill Belichick retiring, they found an elegant solution to it all. You think that guy's going to go ahead and clean house of his front office? Now, given Elliott Wolf doesn't have job security as of right now. Like, he might not be the GM at the moment, and no one knows that because it was his job to be the GM up to the draft, and then they would reassess from there. But the point being, Robert Kraft isn't going to fire them, but Elliott Wolf knows that his job is tied to this rookie quarterback and developing him. Yeah, sure, if he's ready week 12, week 13, that's fine, but be patient and don't rush him in there. This is still a bottom 10 roster in the NFL. It was bottom 5 coming into the draft. These are all prospects. They're unproven commodities. You don't know if they're actually good. So let's say if they're good, nice, you got a bunch of rookies lifting you up. Your offensive line still sucks. It's still a bottom 10 roster. This is a team that has to play the long game more than the short game. And if you go in, play Drake Maye, cool. You have something there, awesome. You're still playing for high draft picks. And to go ahead again, you're going to be a bad team. A top 15 pick in next year's draft won't be the worst thing ever when you still need offensive line help. You need help in the secondary, up front on the edge, and offensive line as well. Just don't rush Drake Maye because if you get this right, then you're the Los Angeles Chargers with Justin Herbert and one of the most talented arms in the league. You're the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow. You have to get this right, and you can't mess it up.